We've had programs that tried to help us survive as a people, but I thought it was up to us, to the native people themselves, and how do we do something to benefit our people. And I came to the conclusion that you have to have strong children. In order to have strong children, you had to have children that you raise, that one, are proud of their parents, two, that have great childhood memories, and three, children who know where they come from.
In traditional times, the quality of a leader was one who can give. Of course, in order to give, you had to produce.
If you're making them learn how to work, even setting the table, or maybe picking up things from the floor, or maybe drying dishes, they're never too young to learn. Even if they want to help, if they don't know how, just leave it, because gradually they'll learn how.
We encourage the children to do things for themselves. We first give them the example on how to do it, and then we encourage them to do it for themselves. And if they have a hard time doing it, then we help them with it.
It's teaching a responsibility in a fun way and making them feel important and building an individual strength that will last them for the rest of their life.
Children are just naturally very good listeners because it's a skill that they've been developing from birth. But it is an important thing for us to continue to support in children, and when we do things like read to children and model listening by being a good listener to our children, we are helping them to understand the importance of being a good listener.
And there's a draft of it already, and they're going to send it out shortly.
Daddy. Carmel, can you hold a minute while Daddy's talking? When he's done talking, you can talk, okay?
Off closed when you chew.
Studies have shown that when parents are involved in children's education, that children succeed more often and education becomes a part of their life and their value system. Talking to the teacher about things that you think are important for your child's education, that not only shows your child that you care about their education, but that you know that you can advocate and make change. And that's important for children. It's powerful for children to see their parents in that role.
And with them coming into the classroom, they see us teaching, but they also teach us about their child. And we're both learning through the experiences of Head Start.
People that get into education, have, for the most part, a genuine concern for kids. And they are there to work with the parents, to open the doors to the parents. We haven't always had that in the school system. And it's something that the school system wants to encourage more and more. So one thing I would stress is that parent involvement. Come in, don't feel shy, don't feel intimidated. We want your help, we want your input.
As our cultures were coming together, there was always a lot of clashes as to what each side intended to be happening. The end result was that the U.S. Navy, having the greater amount of power, as it were, send two cutters, the cutters Corwin and Favorite, and proceeded to shell our community. This was on October 26, 1882. During the shelling, literally all the houses were destroyed. The food catches were destroyed. And during the course of the day, there was literally nothing left of the community except smoking ruins. This could have been just an abandoned site if the people's spirit was totally crushed by what happened. But somehow, by some miracle, their spirit, their morale, as it were, was maintained. And this canoe was a part of maintaining that as it slowly was able to get together the materials that would shelter the people and that would feed the people. And this is what this canoe was used for in those first 2 or 3 years that followed the shelling. During the years that followed after that, the prow piece itself went south, as it were. And that was the last any of us had seen it.
In 1993, the United States government passed what they called the NAGPRA Act, which is an acronym for the Native American Graves Protection Repatriation Act of 1993. What I realized was that the United States government, with the NAGPRA Act, was saying, we have all these artifacts in our federally funded museums, and we will even provide the monies for you to go back if you will just identify what is yours and help you to bring those things back home. And we put together a team of people that would go over to look at these artifacts. There are so many things that happened on that trip and still happening today. I'm the project leader for this NAGPRA project here at New York. It has been a real exciting time for me to be able to bring to the different museums cultural leaders who would be able to speak with authority in reference to our Tlingit culture.
And that's why I'm here today, to find out anything that would belong to the Wishkiton clan. And if I saw something, we would all help each other and put a resolution out and to go claim it. Is that what we're trying to find out how to do so that we can stop the problems?
They're looking for a trade-off of education towards so that they could better understand our Tlingit people.
What I'm doing here is not for myself. I know everything that is need to be known of our culture. So what I'm doing now is for the next generation, so that we can establish something that they can stand on and understand what it means to be a Tlingit.
When we opened up what we call a bundle in the museum, I still remember Matthew Fred praying. We called on him to pray, and he said a prayer, and he spoke to the spirit of these things and said, it is now safe for you to come back home. And just immediately after that, we discovered this beaver prow figure. But that was an incredible prayer when he prayed that prayer and said, we're sorry for letting you go. Please forgive us. And there's peace back at home now, and we welcome you back. You can come back home to us. And so that was just an awesome, awesome way to begin, and proved to be a very historical time.
The storage area is just a massive storage room. When Harold heard its call and found it in the museum, he got all excited. And he came running down the aisle and he said, "Clear the table, clear the table." And this item came out, and he guaranteed us that what was coming out was more important than what we might have been looking at the time. And he was right, he was right.
The way I felt about it, it was his grandfather, great-great-grandfather was named Kasacht. He said, your grandfather was calling to you, that's why you found it.
This was not on the list that the museum had provided us to be reviewing.
It was an honor for me when they first called on me to handle this beaver prow, and when I was holding it, I couldn't even speak. I was lost for words, and I was holding it, I just feel it going through my body, the glory and the thankfulness for finding this when they did find it.
The emotions, all of us that were there grew up hearing the stories of that canoe and what happened, and to suddenly see a tangible piece of history from that period of time, something that survived that shelling, was just an incredible experience. It's no longer just a piece of decoration for canoe, it now represents the survival of our community.
Normally these repatriation claims have been taking a little bit over a year. Once the museum realized the significance of this artifact to our people, they jumped through a lot of hoops to release this artifact to us.
It arrived here in Anguna right on the same day, on the anniversary, the 117th anniversary of the shelling of Anguna, on October 26th of 1999.
And then we also brought back a killer whale blanket. Killer whale blanket had, that was another very, very historical event.
I think the highlight was to stand in the tooth hat that my mother's uncle was photographed, that appears in several Indian magazines, and I got choked up. I hardly talked at that moment because the lump was there and the emotion was high. I could say nothing.
The Tlingit culture, or our people, are very complex people. The leadership that they have that is built right within the culture, it's amazing. Probably one of the most amazing indigenous people in the whole wide world. So that with all of these artifacts playing their role, it's a pretty amazing picture. We've used them in a lot of different ceremonies since we brought them back. They've been very busy. One of the statements that Joe Bennett Sr. made when this was first brought out, I think it really grabbed a hold of me, was that this artifact talks about a sad part of our Tlingit history, a very, very sad part of our history. But now the knowledge of this artifact has now come upon the shoulders of this generation. And his question to us was, what are we going to do with this knowledge?
In the Caucasian world, you have job security, and you don't want to tell anybody about anything that you know because you don't want anybody to take your job. And in that aspect, I find myself guarding what I'm going to tell the children. But I have to get to the point where I must give it up readily, because they are entitled to this culture, a rich culture that we all enjoy here today around us in this world. And I have to give all this knowledge that I know without reservation.
This artifact talks about unity, of working together. There's a lot of lessons that we could glean from this, and that a lot of times is it's an internal thing within our own heart, within our own life. I think of this artifact as teaching us those lessons in life, and even with young people today, you're going to have to learn that lesson of dying to yourself, of learning to work together with other people. If you never learn to work with other people, you will never be successful.
The Tlingit culture tries to teach many beautiful things. The most important thing that we teach is the importance of self, the importance of learning who you are. And as young parents, that's maybe one of the first things that should be taught. Teach the children that they are all precious, that they are all important.
I was raised and born in Anguna. I understand the culture, I understand how it works, and I appreciate it, and that helped mold me into the kind of person I was.
When I first started teaching the native language in 1974, I realized that there was no one to teach the dancing anymore because our ancestors were all passing away. And usually it's the uncle that teaches the nephew, not the niece. When I first started going to him, I realized that we needed to carry on our dancing and our singing. And he told me, he said, if you have the strength of a man, I'll teach you. So I took that job on.
I was quite apprehensive about working for Chilkat Cruises last year. I've never talked in front of a group, but I was kind of like just plopped into it and off I went. But when I got up there and realized that I have something to share, and the life that I had here was very precious.
In this role that I have with the dance group, there are many times that I question myself, but when I take a look at where we started and where we are today, then I know that the answer didn't come from a book or from one particular person, it came from our hearts.
I truly believe it helps them not only in their confidence level, but because they are more confident, they are able to compete better in the world we live in. They are able to perform better in school, and they are able to assert themselves in the classroom, which is something that has always been an issue for Native children in Alaska, is the high dropout rate has been very alarming here, and the pregnancy rate and the alcoholism and drug abuse that is faced by the children, the peer pressure that they face, just the self-esteem that they build with this group, and being required to participate and work as a team helps them be able to make the right choices as they are getting older. It just helps them all the way around to be able to function better as a positive participant in our society.
Thank you. What we're trying to do now in the last few years is teach the younger people, our younger kids, how to handle a party. Like to have 40-day parties, a potlatch,
We have come to honor you, veterans, Native veterans, those that are with us now and those that have passed on. We are going to sing the Haida headdress for you in honor of what you have done for our country.
Top one ton, U.S. Jerry Orca, First Force Recon, Lodge. United States Army, Vietnam Army. United States Navy. Who are you? U.S. Army. Jerry Bennett, U.S. Army. Blake Cruz, Vietnam. 18 miles. Korean veteran. Al Wassa, United States Marine Corps. U.S. Sergeant Willard Jackson. Leonard John. States Army. Junior. Former Staff Sergeant White. Peter D. McCluskey. U.S. Army. United States. U.S. Navy. Greg Leonard Williams. U.S. Army. U.S. Navy. Ronald Ridley. U.S. Navy. U.S. Army. Leonard Second Airborne. U.S. 24th Infantry Junior. Master Sergeant Charles Nat Senior retired. McKinley. Dirk Marvin. Tommy Jimmy. Bob Beery. 82nd Airborne.
These are some of the accomplishments of AMB, together with the help of some very prestigious ladies, notably Elizabeth Peratrovich, instrumental civil rights activist in the passage of the anti-discrimination law.
I saw some of the Native leaders, and what they had, and I loved their presence, how they kept themselves. I loved how they spoke when they were giving speeches, and I thought to myself, yeah, that's what I want. One of these days I'd like to be a leader, or a teacher, something that has to do with getting our Native people back to where we should be in society, So that's when I decided I got to go back to school.
They swore me in to be a secretary for the Alaska Native Sisterhood. I was only 13. I was scared. I didn't know what to do, but I decided I'm going to learn. And I never stopped. For Tlingit and Haida, I was officer, secretary, I just kept on like that, kept learning, so I became clan leader.
I also think, though, that there's other leadership requirements of our Native community, and I am an example of the other kind of leadership because I do what I do very well in the non-Native world. I participate in the legislative process of our state. I participate in the Native politics through the Alaska Federation of Natives, where I'm co-chairman. I participate in the Alaska Native Brotherhood. And I'm an individual who could stand up in a non-Native community and speak, and people will respect what I say. So I leave to the young Native leadership that sort of are the part of my culture that I think is important, and they leave to me that part of our non-Native culture that's important. They do their job very well. I do my job very well.
The thing that really amazes me is since land claim, we have so many people who are representing us in the legislature. No other state in the Union has that kind of representation. We have people who are presidents of universities. We have people working in universities. We have a Haida dentist in Sitka. And, you know, we have so many attorneys. It's just incredible because all these people are getting degrees, and you can't keep ignoring people who are getting degrees and getting better educated.
I know a lot of us realize the value of our culture, but wow, education just gives us that power, you know, to take over legislation, to deal with laws, have a say when it comes to how our native foods are dealt with. I just think education just puts it right there. It says, all right, this is what you're dealing with, this is the history of how this came about, and this is where you should be taking a stand.
Just dealing with home issues is a level of leadership that needs to be trumpeted more and more. I say that because I think the home is most definitely the birthplace of all leadership.
That parent unit is so important in terms of modeling healthy behavior, that if that's falling apart because they're not taking care of that relationship, it's going to impact the child. You know, the conflicts there impact the child. And on the other hand, the good problem solving that the child sees there is a tremendous learning experience for the child. Can be a very positive one, where they see that two healthy adults can have disagreements, have conflicts, talk to each other directly, deal with it in a constructive way, and come out with a win-win solution. That's the best school in the world, a child to see that going on, and it's tremendous relationship training for the child in their future.
Because we're the ones that they're looking up to, and that they trust us to help them through the good times and the bad times. And we instill that in them, that we are always going to be here when you need us.
Taking care of one's family by understanding finances, insurance, how to assist your child in getting an education, savings, you know, the monetary system. And then as you participate in your civic duties, there's the political side. You need to develop your commitment to politics based on your family values.
And that's one of the things we try to do, as you know, my wife and I as a team, is try to get our children exposed to different things that are happening throughout the community, whether it be a cultural event or even as far as going to a funeral. Because I think, you know, these are things they will have to face.
If you have strong children, and that's what I talked about earlier, if you have strong children, you know, they'll understand that the goal of success has to do with determination, with strong parental support, with good guidance, with understanding what's right and what's wrong.
What makes this bracelet, or anything that anybody else would do in the culture, what makes it what it is character. What kind of character are you? Are you a person of integrity? You know, exactly what kind of person made this. And I think our young people need to see that. They need to understand the importance of character, that it's more important to be a person of character and integrity than it is to be one making a whole lot of money. You go a lot farther.
Whatever story happened to be told, the meaning from the story then is explained to the child. And if you carry on this way, this is what will happen to you. So you have to avoid these things. Hurting your people, mean words. Always be kind, always be helpful. Do not shame yourself. You learn from other people's mistakes.
Apologize for any mistakes that we may make, for we are still young and we're still learning. Anything that we do to offend you, please let them touch it gently, like the feathers from the eagle down.
And if you're able to tell somebody that you're sorry for whatever you've done, it makes their life a little bit easier to know that when you make a mistake, you can say you're sorry to that person and that person will forgive you. And that's what we try to teach the children.
I grew up being afraid, and it took me years and years to come out of that. I was always overcorrected, and so I was quiet. And we want these kids to be able to, when they get to kindergarten, to talk for themselves, to let each other know how they feel in positive ways rather than in mad ways. We want them to open up and learn and love the learning that they're doing.
I think that helps when the parents do come in, because they see that, you know, it's okay if my child gets wet. It's okay if my child spills the milk. It's okay.
One of the things that we try to make parents understand is that accidents do happen, that children learn from accidents. If there was not any of those kind of things that happened, that we would not have the learning that we do.
You have to fight for your rights. You have to speak up for your rights. No matter what, you read everything that's coming in and learn from the elderly people. That's what I did. I learned from the elderly people since I can walk. I'll never stop loving my people, and I'll never stop fighting for them.
And always for the betterment of our people, the big thing is to better yourself. Not because you're better than anyone else, but to just keep improving. And education never ends, whether it be formal or by experience or by learning. And we just need to keep always moving forward, and each generation teaching the next generation.
I think as long as we focus on their interests, their choices, their needs, we can help develop that child into not just leaders of our community, but we'll be able to show the community through these young ones that they are leaders of the future.
Amen.